Hello, everyone, and welcome back for another session of Huddle Up here with the fellas DA, scoreboard guy, Austin Bradley, gentleman that has a phone in the freezer behind some butter. I don't understand it, but it's here with us, and we're going to start and get into it. We're going to jump into this episode of Huddle Up here on Thursday, September 29th. I'm glad everyone is out there. We're going to jump into it. I'm in the prediction business. That is what I'm in. I told everyone that Albert Pujols would hit number 700, and I said that he would do it in LA. Is anyone up to dispute my claims or prediction, Mr. Guy Newcomb himself?
Oh,
First
you are drastically misremembering what was said. That's all I can say. But no, I did go out on a limb, said it hit it in L.A. He would not, he would come home with 700, and he did.
You didn't go out on a limb. You were actually sitting out on a tree stump. Everyone knew that he would hit 700. DA was a quiet closet. He hoping he didn't. But DA, you didn't give a prediction, but I think you're on board with the 700. Am I right?
You're right from the beginning. And Johnny, all I got to say is, how do you like your crow cooked?
Well, medium rare. All right, so here we go. Now I'm gonna slide it over here to the trader here, the one who turned his back on me when we were in this no Pujols 700 club. Austin, tell me what made you change your mind and become a 700 fan of Mr. Pujols?
So I actually thought he was going to hit 700. I did not think he would hit it on that road trip. I thought it would be either at home in the series against Pittsburgh or in the final regular season series against Pittsburgh. And it was because he had 6 games remaining against Pittsburgh. That's what made me change my mind. You could not have paid me to believe that he was going to hit it off the Padres or the Dodgers. But hey, I've never been so happy to be wrong in my life.
Well, like I said, I knew he would, but I'm a true blue guy. I'm going to stick by my words. I knew he would hit it. And Guy coming up here just saying, oh, yeah, he's going to hit it in LA. Well, the next 3 games are in LA, and the man had just had 2 bombs against the Padres. But congratulations. Everyone here at Huddle Up is very supportive of Pujols and his historic 700 home run. The Cardinals clinched a couple nights ago, and it was a decent party they had going on. Pujols gave a speech about it not being their final destination. Austin, you got a chance to watch a little bit more of it than most of us, and you saw some very interesting Cardinals at their best with a Bud Light in their hand. Tell us some of the things you saw.
Okay, Newbar is barely old enough to drink, I think, and he may have had the most. That for one thing. He was all over the place. He was even still today. He was bragging about his partying skills on the pregame show, and it's funny to me because you always like to see those guys. That's what they work for. But I'll tell you the one that got me the most cracked up is one of the guys that was having the most fun might be the most mellow on the team. That's Paul Goldschmidt. He was dumping beer and champagne on everybody. Pujols, he lifted Jim Hayes' hat up, dumped some on his head. No announcer, player, or anybody was safe from Goldie or Newtbar or any of them last night.
I love it. I love it. So when the Cardinals clinched, they had a great party there Tuesday night. DA, if all of us was to be in that atmosphere and you would see us clinch, who do you think would be acting the most foolish out of us 4 on this cast right here and the Huddle Up crew? Who do you think would be the new Bart of Huddle Up? Would you put Newcomb in the middle of that?
I think I'd have to. Yeah, yep. It's definitely Guy, and none of us could touch him with a 10-foot pole when it comes to that. So definitely Guy. Hey, awfully happy for the Cardinals. I think from being a National League Central fan, and I don't think it's any secret I'm a Cubs fan, but being from the National League Central, all of a sudden I change my hats. I jump on the bandwagon. I become a Cardinals fan. I want to see them do well, and I'll be rooting for the Cardinals from here on out till spring break next year.
Well, if I believe if my days are right, the playoffs start next Friday. Guy, being the local historian here, who do you think we'll be opening up with, Guy?
Well, right now, I'm thinking Philadelphia.
Yeah.
The way the season would end right now, it'd be the Cardinals would be the 3 seed. They would have Philadelphia at home for 3 games, best out of 3. And right now, with them being at the top of that bracket with the Mets, you've put San Diego, the Braves, and the Dodgers all on the bottom side of that bracket. If the season were to end right now, and I think that's good for the Cardinals. I know you've got Scherzer and Degrom that in a short series could really put you out of it in a hurry. But Scherzer's owned the Cardinals, but he's been struggling with injuries and things of that nature. Degrom's only been back a couple of weeks from his injury. So I think the Cardinals right now are in the best possible position that they could be in, at avoiding San Diego, Atlanta, and the Dodgers until perhaps the NLCS.
I agree with you. I agree with you. My question would be the rotation. Austin, who do you think they should start off with game one?
Well, I think Michaelis gets game one. He has had 2 just stellar performances back to back. It's got to be Miles Michaelis. Has to be.
Okay, I could go with that. Well, Guy, what about 2 and DA? What are you thinking on 3?
Well, I think on number 2, it's got to be probably Wainwright, and then you're going to Montgomery. I mean Montgomery struggled a little bit, but I think you go Michaelis, Wainwright, Montgomery, and Quintana eats up innings, but he may be a guy that you may need in a long relief situation at some point. But that's kind of what I would think.
DA?
I think if you win game one, you go ahead and go. You put Wainwright on the shelf for game 3 if it's needed, and if it's not, he can open up the next series. That's just me thinking ahead, planning ahead. I think if the Cardinals lose game 1, then I don't think there's any doubt in that type of situation. Wainwright's got to be on the bump, but there's going to be some strategizing, some planning ahead, so to speak, and it'll be interesting.
It will be. Well, we're all excited. We got about a week to go, and everyone will be kind of cuddled up, and we might even have to turn that furnace on here in a little bit and get ready for some Cardinal postseason baseball. I tell you what, gentlemen, it's not a better time for me in the sports realm with the Cardinals on, and then you got your college football and you got your NFL. And speaking of the NFL, the Chiefs went to Indy and kind of laid an egg. If you ask me, they had numerous opportunities to win that game, but it almost became a stereotypical kind of overlook with the muff punt and then giving Indy a shot to say, hey, we can do it. Several drop passes. You had a fake field goal. You had a missed field goal, mixed extra point. And the Chiefs ended up losing that game last Sunday, 20-17. Mahomes was 20 for 35 with 262. He had a TD and an INT. Their rushing attack, they got to get it a little bit more get a little bit more balance in it. But Guy, I don't know if you got a chance to see a lot of it. But what were your general thoughts on the Chiefs and how they kind of performed in Indianapolis last weekend?
Well, they've got to be able to run the football. Their offensive line has struggled, and then they go to a double tight and they put them out wide and try and run a play action off of that. Well, you're not going to fall for that when you can't run the ball and you put your tight ends out wide or your best blockers on the outside. You run a play action trying to stretch the field a little bit. They're just not able to run the ball. They cannot pick up 2 yards, and they refuse to do quarterback sneaks because he got injured a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of years ago. He got the injury in a quarterback sneak. Well, you take that completely out of it. On the defense, okay, this is not going to be a quarterback sneak. Now you got to turn and take 2 steps and hand the ball deep off in the backfield. And it's ridiculous that they can't run the football. And Tobe, who has been kind of the stalwart there as the special teams coach, he had a miserable week, but you're without your kicker. Now Butker came back today and he was kicking today and had some practice on the field, so he may be back. They did go out and sign. They released Amendola, but they went out and signed another kicker today. But you've got to be able to pick up the short yardage for them to be successful, and they just can't do it. And they've got what's his name? Orlando Brown wants to be the highest paid left tackle in the NFL, and he can't block.
Hmm.
It's just it's really frustrating when you look at what they've done and just the non-existent run game. And now they got Tampa Bay, who defensively is really good. And I don't care if you play in Tampa Bay or play in Minnesota, that's going to be a struggle.
Yeah, Johnny, I'm glad you like your crow medium rare because I'm gonna have to share some with you, buddy. I didn't even think the Indianapolis Colts would get a first down, but I can tell you this: no matter how good or how bad the Colts are, that place is going to be filled and it's going to be rocking. And that the Colts were a team that played with a little bit of urgency. The Boo Birds were out. They were ready to. People wanted to get rid of the general manager. They wanted to get rid of the coach, and they played with their hair on fire a little bit. I think rallying around, rallying the troops a little bit. And I just think that Chiefs probably overlooked that game a little bit or a lot, and you could really, if there was ever any question on how important Butker is to that team, it showed. It was unlike Andy Reid in that situation to go a fake field goal. When you can put for sure points up on the board on the road in a tight game and not do it. So they'll get that'll be a good wake up call for them, especially this early. It was not a division game, so I think in the long run that one they took on the chin may pay off for them.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this past weekend was just a case of, I think Mizzou and the Chiefs kind of did the same thing. They kind of gave the opposing team any opportunity they could to give the game away. Mahomes throws the interception with 24 seconds left, and obviously that didn't lose the game. It's hard to score with that little time on the clock anyway. But I mean, still yet there was little mistakes, and again, Andy Reid's one of the best play callers in football, in my opinion. And for him to go for that fake field goal as opposed to putting those guaranteed points up, that was definitely surprising. And one of those things you kind of get caught sleeping. They've got a big game with Brady and the Bucks this Sunday, maybe, depending on weather issues. So yeah, I think it's one of those things that just kind of got caught sleeping, and they're gonna learn from it. And I'm sure that this coming weekend and beyond, I don't think you're going to see things like that happen again.
Well, I can kind of agree with you, but there's also some points where you're going, yeah, but the NFL is one of those leagues where people see certain things and they go, okay, this is how you stop them. It's a copycat league, and everyone got that film, and everyone's going to say, well, here's some tendencies, and they don't have the ability to have that big strike, that big, throw to Tyreek, number 10 over there, him taking it a long distance. I think this might be a little bit of a tell about what the Chiefs might be seeing to hold the Chiefs to 17 points is still, even with everything that happened on the defensive side and everything that happened to special teams, was still an outstanding job by Indianapolis, and hats off to them. Well, we're going to end this segment here. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about the Missouri Tigers. And before that, we're also going to talk about someone who's very dear to us and very dear to Guy Newcomb, someone he considers a really close friend and a mentor. We're going to talk about Art Haynes, and we're going to wish him well when we come back. And we got several other things. You stay with us. You're listening live here to Huddle Up